Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 82 of the Almost Daily Show with your host, Chandler, and
the Dave Picardi.
We're here, we're ready, and we're excited to rock and roll.
I like that. Rock and roll.
Rock and roll all night. Rock and roll every day.
Ow.
Rock and roll into outer space. Lots of rocking and rolling.
Yeah, you are. Usually are.
It's
could have got the little air guitar going on right there. Would have been nice.
Yeah. Woo! Really playing.
Yeah.
Drumming on a trash can, banging on a street light.
Can you actually get to the top of a pole to bang on a street light? Oh, Chan, you lost your headset.
Oh, man, I pulled it right out. I hate chords, man. They're terrible.
I know.
Awful. You can't move your hands or do anything. You just keep them behind your back. It's a hard knock life. Hard knock life.
That's right. So we get a good one today. I think this is a hot topic. I know we're on the phone almost daily with gym owners talking about this.
Yeah, we really wanted to dive into the 6-week challenge and kind of the progression. And I would say 2017 was the year that the 6-week challenge really changed the industry. And then everybody copied the 6-week challenge. And then it created this whole cataclysmic event of all gyms doing 6-week challenges. And so we made the title as a 6-week challenge hurting your business. So all you guys out there will listen to it because you'll be like, oh, it's not. You guys talking suck. But we're actually not saying that it's really going to hurt your business. We're going to talk about why it could be hurting your business and how with these, a lot of the time you're sacrificing the long-term strategy of your business, or you're sacrificing the capabilities of your business being able to maintain and manage your marketing long-term. Because what happens with 6-week challenges that we find is you start it, and let's take the New You Challenge for an example. When they came out, they revolutionized the entire industry. Everybody was doing 6-week challenges because of how busy it was and how stacked it was and how many people were interested in it. But then what happened was everybody started doing it, and people tried to run them back to back to back to back, and they saturated the market, and people became immune to it. And so now everybody knows what it looks like. Every gym that's doing it looks like the same as all the other gyms. So you've essentially taken yourself from not having any business to having business to back to not having business because you moved yourself back into a commodity-based market.
Yeah, and I mean, and this is what we end up talking to all these gym owners about. It's, they ran a challenge like this once, twice, maybe 3 times, and each time the leads degraded, and then it stopped working. So they were kind of like, okay, so it worked at first. I was excited. Now it doesn't work. We need the next challenge. So they're out looking for that. Now we need a 5.5-week challenge. Now we need a guaranteed money back challenge. But what we find is, and this is kind of what we're all about, is, you have to actually build your brand identity locally in the market. And challenges should be, and I think this is where it can be hurting, is your business and your product 6-week challenges. And if it's all it is clickbait to try to get people to sign up, to just crash them through some sort of a quick program to then get them to be members of your actual program, there's a disconnect between your marketing and how you're driving people in, right? So you're setting a certain expectation, a certain type of a sell, and then you're trying to then say, oh, now we want to convert them into these long-term clients. But you didn't really nurture, you didn't build a local audience, you didn't build relationships locally and have people understand over a long period of time who you are, what you're all about, what your value proposition is to them. And then when they came in because they were actually looking to be a part of your service and your community. So there's a disconnect there. I just say that if you're running something like 6-week challenges, you got to make sure that they're actually connected to your long-term business strategies, your plan, your culture, and it's not 2 separate things because expectations aren't being met in the sale and in the relationship.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to think about it in terms of how can I run this challenge in a way that's unique and different to me? So you can organize like, okay, we do want to do 6-week challenges because they drive people in or whatever, and consumers are very priced or like length driven. So they want something that's a certain amount of time. which you could also argue that puts them in the mindset that they don't have to do this forever. And then it could essentially reduce your retention down the road, but we'd have to test it on a case by case basis to see what it looks like as we flow through. But so if you say, okay, I have to run challenges, it's the only way I can get leads or my business will go bankrupt. So then you say, okay, how do we run a challenge that's different from everybody else? Everybody right now is either doing the challenge where they charge $249, or they're doing the new trend, which is the challenge that costs $499. Both of them are essentially the same thing. They're just marketed in different ways toward just different markets. So you have to say, okay, these are the two things that are popular right now. How do I organize something myself that's unique to what we're doing? And so back in the day, we haven't done this in years, but we used to run something called the Fluff to Tough Challenge. It was pretty much our entry program and our entry level areas mapped out into a 6-week program that transitions them into the group classes. And so we marketed it with our own name behind it, Fluff to Tough. We had an actual meeting people would come to talk about it. And there was a bunch of stuff organized around it. But the big thing that kept us different was, number one, there was no challenges at that point. It wasn't even like a thought of anybody to do. And so this was, I think it was like 2013. But at that point, it was our own thing. It was the Fluff to Tough Challenge. So we branded it, we named it, we had t-shirts around it. And it was just our on-ramp or our fundamentals program kind of packaged into that to transition people over. So you really need to get in that mindset. How do I organize this challenge in a way that's going to play into my brand? How do I name it so it plays into my brand? And if I join this organization that's selling me 6-week challenges, are they going to allow someone down the street or across the street to join it at the same time? And am I going to saturate my market in that way?
Yeah. And I think like you just said, like you used to run something a certain way, and we used to as well. I stole mine directly from like anything good in this business, right? You just steal it.
That's right.
A good friend of mine, give him a shout out, Matt Hunt with Hard Exercise Works. But he used to run 5-week boot camp challenges. He was kind of the original guy doing all this stuff years ago. And so we started doing it at our gym. And it was when he was trying to convince me, he wanted me to do in the Northeast, actually run all the franchises for and start them and start buying into Hard Exercise Works. We decided not to because we were trying to do something different in the market. And so, but we ran these challenges and we're back to it. We call it something different now, but we package our product and we get people. The big thing for us is we want to make sure that how we're marketing lines up with our community and our programs and gets people actually like really embedded in the program by the time they're done with their initial, purchase when they come in. So, we make sure that there's, we combine personal training with some group classes with nutrition stuff, some workshops, and a lot of personal, tracking and touching and all this stuff that happens with the client. And we package it all up. And now we call it the Fit for Life experience at the Treehouse. And it's very similar to what we ran years ago. And it brings people in, but it brings them into our program. And we talk about it as our program. And it's not something separate. But we have to then resell them and use it then we have to then start using those people as warm leads to get into our regular program. We want to, because we run the Out of the Cave Media relationship marketing experience. We nurture our market, create a warm market to get people to join our overall program. And I think that's just the difference is you just got to tie it together. So in order to have good marketing and run these types of challenges, just make sure it really lines up with your program long-term. It's easy to explain and people really understand it when they come in.
Yeah, exactly. And if you market it as this bikini body boot camp or a body weight challenge, you have to make sure that if you're going to introduce things like barbells when they get into classes and stuff like that, it's maybe either slowly integrated or talked about, or they see it a lot. So that way, when they get over there, they don't feel a culture shock and they say, oh, I just want to go back and do the challenge stuff. This happens a lot with people who stick with exclusively personal training as well. They don't think they're ready for the group classes because they look scary. And so we just need to make sure that everything we organize builds into where we want them to ultimately be. And so like you were saying earlier, is your main product a 6-week challenge? If it's a 6-week challenge, you run those all the time, funnel hundreds of people through those things. That's all you care about. But if you want your main product to be your group fitness class, your CrossFit class, or whatever you call it, then you need to make sure that that challenge is just a funnel into your group classes. And you don't even have to have a challenge that funnels into like an on-ramp or a fundamentals program. Your challenge can literally be your fundamentals program. You just give it a name and call it a challenge. So, hey, We have a 6-week Fluff to Tough challenge. It's just our fundamentals program packaged in a way to where people see it as a 6-week experience. And it's exactly what we want them to learn. It has the culture, it has the experience and all of that stuff. So that's really what differentiates us. It's just learning
value.
Yeah. And I think the big thing that people don't realize with this is it's packaging. So you're packaging your services in a way that people want to purchase it and people want to buy it and people want to experience it. And so the way you want to organize this, and we've talked about this a little bit in the past, is do a feature audit. So in my fundamentals program or my on-ramp, what do I offer? How long is it? How many sessions? And once you get that down, now you have boom, boom, boom. You have all these features. Okay. Now, who are a few people who have gone through this that have really been helped? Okay. We got Sally, Joe, Johnny, and Jesse Lou. These people are amazing.
Especially Lou. That's my favorite of the week.
Yeah. So nice. So nice. And so then you say, okay, these 3 did really well in this challenge. Let's grab one of these people. Let's do a testimonial video, and they can talk about how it changed their life in our fundamentals program and our full classes. So now we have an experience to showcase with our feature audit that we've done. So now you've got it. You've got the video to run about the challenge. You talk about the challenge at the top with all your content, marketing, writing experience. So, hey, everyone, or whatever, we've got a 6-week challenge coming up. Yeah, and then you have your little bullet points with little emoji pictures and all of that. You write copy, and then you have a landing page that has another person who's had a good experience and they talk about it. So you're kind of selling the end result that people want to see, and you're selling the time frame that makes them feel like they can get in and try it out.
Right. But I think that the key is, I think we keep touching on it, is it really needs to be crafted around like you, your business, your program, your resources. What can you offer in these challenges? And not just cookie cut it out. Like, okay, so, hiring a company that just says we run this challenge to drive people to your business, it doesn't necessarily mean it lines up with your business. So it might drive leads, but that doesn't mean they're long-term qualified leads. So, it's not about, and I understand some gyms, like we've talked to them, friends of ours, right? It's like, well, I did this challenge, it saved my gym. And you're like, perfect. And then 6 months, a year later, they're actually back in the same position. And we're in there trying to rebuild their brand identity and their culture locally and all this stuff and local business development and strategic partnerships. And then, once you have all this infrastructure built, and then you start running all these ads, but people are seeing it not just through the ads, it actually pays a better long-term dividend. And that's really what we're saying is, businesses that aren't tying these challenges to their culture, it's always flash in the pan results. And we're just trying to help.
Yeah, exactly. So think about it. You have to make sure it's all organized around you, your brand, your culture, and it's not the same as someone else. And if you are using someone else's program and package, be careful that you're running it maybe only twice a year, because then you're going to learn to not depend on it. And you can run it when you need an influx. And you can also pay attention to what's going on in your community. So if everybody's doing it, then you probably don't want to do that one. And if you're looking for a challenge, just find someone who's starting a new challenge company, because everybody's doing it now and everybody's starting companies to sell it. So if you can get in with a new one, then you're going to have the market before the market gets there.
Yeah.
But really,
something else, I think a big piece that we also find ourselves doing is we're able to do the ads and put all the stuff out. And we do that for a lot of clients, but we really like working with teams. So we've been helping people adjust these challenges so that it actually fits to their culture, because we go in and we actually build out their overall strategy, that kind of long-term game plan, content strategy, boosting and advertisement strategy, and all the stuff that goes along with it, local biz dev and strategic partnerships. And then so if someone's working with a 6-week challenge company, we help kind of adjust and craft some stuff so that it actually fits into their culture, which gives them better results.
Yeah, exactly. We just got to modify it and adjust it and make sure that it fits you and what you're doing. And we're not, this episode, the title may make it seem like we're against these things, but we're really not against them. We're against making you look like everybody else. We're against the roller coaster of success and failure in business. And we're always for, and we've always talked about how we're interested in the long-term life cycle of the business. Is this going to work in 2 years? If not, then why are we doing it? And if we want it to work in 2 years, then we need to make sure that we organize something that doesn't oversaturate the market or make us seem like everybody else. Because what eventually happens is everybody learns how to do this. They copy it from everybody. And then you've got 35 people who may not even be working with the original company running the same thing that you might be paying for from that company. And so you just have to make sure you don't get in that position. And if you have something that's specifically named after your brand and specifically named for you and specifically organized around what you're doing, then you have something that's sellable and something that you can use long term. And it's like our Fluff to Tough challenge or our Fit for Life challenge. These things are organized in a way that makes sense for our brand and our longevity.
Well, and it's also it's stuff that it's your message, your clients, their success, their transformations. Once you have a system in place and built, like this, like we have an exercise we do with clients where we actually set up a whole system for how they track and build and collect transformations and client stories and the whole thing. And then you're actually able to take those and use it all for your marketing efforts, but you plug it into your overall system. And you don't just take one of them and use it as one lead drive. I think that's a mistake people are making. So 6-week challenges isn't marketing. It's a piece of your marketing system.
Yeah, exactly. And you think about the challenge, and if you're pulling cold leads in off that, that's your direct marketing component. And then you have your awareness component, and you have all these components lead into the ultimate goal of converting people. And so the more aware they are of you, the more excited they are about you, and the more you've taken time to nurture them, the higher your conversions are going to be down the road. So if you just do a direct marketing approach, your conversions are going to be 10 to 30% probably. If you add in awareness and building the brand and building the identity and talking to people and letting them see who you are and your personality and all that, you can double your conversions easily. Comfortable with you already. And everything's about building comfort and trust. If we can't build that, it's just a game of numbers.
Yep. And I got my awesome story that I thought it was great because it was like perfect proof of what we were doing. But, so we do a whole content strategy. But what we do is as we're tracking all this, we're pushing content, we're doing all, this local development, business development, all this stuff. And then we drop an ad, we drop, say, I think it was a November ad. This was a couple years back. So we drop an ad November, we drop another ad and do another call to action to bring people in February and another one in April. And the people that were coming in April, we had 5 of them, all said the same thing. They all saw an ad originally in November, clicked on it, didn't do anything. They saw the same ad in February, clicked on it, filled out the form, did not submit it. And then in April, saw it, clicked on the form, submitted it, came in and joined immediately. And they said it just took them that 6-month period. That's what it took them to actually take the step to come in. But what they all did, all 5 of them, they all consumed all of our content that we were pushing, which is a lot, from November through April. So they started following us on all the channels, listening to all the stuff we were putting out, and they felt like they were connected to our community before they ever even made the plunge. It was just finally it was time to come in. So it just kind of shows you that the strategy is not just challenges and driving revenue. It's also what is your brand, overall game plan? What is your culture? How are you sharing that with your current members in the world? And then you want to tie these things into that because it's all one system for you.
Yeah, exactly. Everything needs to lead into everything. And if everything leads into everything, it's going to give you the best results in terms of conversions and retention. And those are the 2 metrics that we want to pay attention to. We'd rather close everybody we bring in or close a good portion of them and then keep them because they already trust in you. They already believe in you. And that little honeymoon period has already been going on versus just bringing a bunch of cold people in and not being able to convert them over or not being able to convince them that your culture is what they need. And that's kind of what it comes down to. You have to understand your business, your cycle, and your process.
So simple.
So simple. Even a caveman could do it.
Oh, shout out to Larry.
Yep, there he is in the back.
There he is.
Larry the champion.
That's right. So if anybody needs any help or just wants to talk about it, kind of what you're running, what your results are, and get a couple ideas, we're always game for that. Drop some questions in the comment. Reach out to us. We'd love to jump on a call. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. If you got questions, shoot us an email or post in the comments. hello@ootcmedia.com. Anyway, we'll see you guys maybe tomorrow, maybe not. We don't know. We never really know, but we're always on almost daily. And that's all she wrote.
That's it.
All right. See ya.